Hello friends, happy Saturday. It's Catherine, Conscious Creatrix, coming at you. Hello. I am outside today because it's too nice to be in my office. The weather's finally breaking and we're maybe gonna get close to 68 degrees Fahrenheit today. Woohoo! That is balmy compared to what we've had here in Tahoe. So the Blue Jays are really loud today, so I apologize for that, but I gotta be outside. But I want to talk to you guys about Sacred DNA Activation and Restructuring method. This is a trademarked proprietary method that is really like no other DNA activation because of the restructuring. You know, DNA activations are not all the same. They're not all created equal. The restructuring is what brings your DNA activation to 12 or 24 strands or higher into all the physical systems, organs, cells of the body. It grounds it into the physical and keeps it there. So it keeps the activation. Other DNA activations without the restructuring and without clearing of the frequency fences that are keeping you from accessing higher energies coming in to your awareness, into your field of awareness, and you being able to actualize physically what these higher energies, these cosmic ascension codes are bringing in for you, without the ability to ground that and keep it in the physical, your DNA activation fades. So that's why the sacred DNA activation and restructuring method is so important and pivotal for us, especially those of you who are really here as way showers, those of you who are here to do energy medicine or energy healing of any kind. It is really imperative that you have your DNA activated and restructured to at least 12 strands. But optimally, if you are performing any kind of energy medicine, any kind of energy healing, you are on a mission, and it's part of your purpose to facilitate healing work for others in this lifetime. It really, really, really is imperative for you to do 24 strand activation or higher. A lot of the people that I've been activating to 24 strands usually go higher because they're just so ready for that level of energy to come in, that once we remove all the frequency fences and the seals on your DNA, once we remove those, the activation just takes hold in the physical so quickly that a lot of the people I'm activating to 24 strands now are going way higher, usually around 35, 36 strands. But I did a woman the other day that we restructured her and she went to about 40 strands. So that's really, really important, because when you're accessing those higher levels, think of them as bandwidths of energy that you're accessing. So when you access those higher strands of energy and you go to that level, it's like accessing the ability to broadcast your frequency at a higher bandwidth of energy. That's the best way to explain it. And so if you are holding space for others as a healer, this is really amazing for you, because your human vessel is so primed energetically to not only be this perfect filter, this perfect conduit for filtering the energies, the higher cosmic ascension codes that you are receiving, for doing healing work, facilitating healing work for others. It just comes through you without any filters, without any frequency fences, without any blocks or barriers. And you are really a more seamless vessel to work with your clients. And the biggest and most amazing thing that I've seen from doing DNA activation and restructuring with my clients, sorry, of course, someone had to start up doing leaf blowing 2 yards over when I started talking. Apologize for that. But the biggest and most amazing thing that I've seen, the huge shift with people doing DNA activation and restructuring, is, now I forgot what I was going to say. Not only their ability to be like broadcasting at a higher bandwidth of energy and be able to hold more space for clients, but also to be able to, on their own level, for their own healing, facilitating their own healing process, because that's got to happen first, right? I'm seeing a lot of the people that I've been activating lately really like just go through like the level of fear that they were holding on to about moving forward into a greater level of being able to heal and facilitate work for their clients, like fearing that, just go away, just melt away, making major life changes. Anything that kept them in fear or denial or anxiety or even panic about moving forward has been swept away. And I will tell you that in the last, I think 3 months, about 2.5 months really, I activated and did restructuring for 3 women to 24 strands, and they all went higher than 24 strands because they were ready for this level of work. They were really ready for this level of work. They have made massive changes in their life where they were in fear before for a really long time and felt stuck for a really long time. They pushed past the fear and did some really brave things in their life. All 3 of these women picked up and completely left their old life behind. And I mean, like, 2 of them left their husbands. And I'm not advising or advocating this or saying that this is okay. I'm not making any judgment on it whatsoever. I'm talking about their level of transformation and their ability to look past and physically move past the fear that had been holding them hostage for a very long time. 2 of the women left their husbands and completely left where they were living, and are now living in different places and starting their lives over again, and are not, I mean, they have their little moments of panic and like dread and what am I doing, but they did it anyway, and they know that there's no turning back, and they kept going, and they're making changes in their businesses because both of them are spiritual entrepreneurs, and that's really amazing. The other woman left a career that she had of 30 years, and her side hustle for a long time was doing healing work, and with the implementation and strategy that we did after the DNA Activation Restructuring, we came to the conclusion that that was really never meant to be her side hustle. It was meant to be her full-time gig. And we put some things in place, and we did a little implementation, a little strategy to help her actually physically ground all this great work we did with the DNA Activation and Restructuring so that it could apply practically to her life and know where her strengths are, from coming away from this DNA Activation and Restructuring, knowing her strengths and being able to move forward with a sense of resilience and fortitude within was the bravest thing she'd ever done, but she felt more confident to do it than she ever had. And so this is amazing. And so what's really amazing about getting your DNA activated and restructured at this time is that because of the nature of the changes that we're going through on the planet at this time, a lot of things are becoming unfamiliar to us. Our old way of being, who we have been in our whole lives up until now, is becoming really unfamiliar. It's not feeling like a good fit anymore. It's like we're constantly trying to put a square peg into a round hole. We feel really disillusioned about, what am I going to do? Who am I? Like, how am I going to move forward as a human being and feel okay in my body when I feel stretched and pulled in a million different directions? Well, here's the thing. It's the DNA activation and restructuring is not just for people who are on like this spiritual quest of awakening. It's for everybody. And I believe very strongly, just as my friend and mentor and creator of Sacred DNA Activation says, Samantha Bearden says, is that we all deserve to have our DNA activated to at least 12 strands. But those of us who are on a spiritual quest of awakening, and those of us who are here to serve clients in helping facilitate that for the people they work with, their mission or their purpose here is to help facilitate the spiritual quest of awakening for others. 24 strands should be the minimum of what you are activating to, and then restructuring it. And again, the restructuring, it brings the DNA from the ethereal template, your divine DNA template, into the physical and grounds it into all the systems, all the organs, your blood, the cells of the body, the energetic transformers of the body. And it is a very, very, there's a proprietary way that I deliver this sacred DNA method that allows you to do the release of what has no longer served you, to shed layers of who you are, this kind of false conditioning of you that you've created to just get through your life up until this point. We help to shed that down to a cellular level, and then you automatically upgrade from that because of the activation process. And I use a proprietary method that allows it to work with your unique timeline for release and upgrade, meaning you won't go into spiritual crisis, you won't go into physical, emotional, or mental crisis. Because a lot of times when we go through like deep energy activating, if it comes in too fast and too furious, the system of the body, which has been kind of sluggish because of all of the energy hitting the planet at this time, and also because of DNA seals and frequency fences on the planet and on your DNA, we're not optimally receiving any very high-tuned, high-frequency energy activations that are meant to better us. And even though they're meant to upgrade our overall energy frequency, if it's not aligned with our biochemistry, with the biology of our body, the physiology, our natural timeline for release and upgrade of energies, we can go into spiritual or physical crisis. So my clients are enjoying the benefits of being able to do their release of the old, shedding the old layers, shedding the old version of them, shedding literally old programming that is held on a cellular level. They're doing it in such a way that it's aligned with their physiology, their biochemistry, so that they don't go into crisis. This is super important. And if you don't understand this, I just want to give you the quick and dirty explanation that we have massive waves of cosmic ascension codes, light codes hitting the planet. These are quantum field codes. So in these codes, there are incredible potentials for ways of being. It opens up huge pockets of possibility. Think about it that way. And we're kind of stepping into these blindly by taking on these big energy activations and saying, okay, well, I'm gonna do this activation and I'm gonna take on this energy. And you're downloading so much at one time, and some of you are really hopefully resonating with this and understanding what I'm saying, that some of you are pulling in too much at one time, that you feel like maybe the ascension symptoms that you had before are even more magnified now. So that in the physical means that you have like a headache that just won't go away. You have constant pressure in your temples. You feel like pressure behind your eyes. You feel a lot of tingling in the scalp all the time because your body is trying to pull in this energy, but there's a big part of you that's like, that's too much, leave it up there. So a lot of you feel like this tingling or a lot of energy around the scalp or on the top of the head. And it may feel like a ghost is following you around or something like that. It's these energies trying to come in. But your body, in trying to protect itself, because your body is still running the old program of you, your body is still not optimized to take in these energies, which is what DNA Activation Restructuring will do for you. It's pushing that away because it's saying this isn't safe to bring this in. And if it is coming in, some of you feel like you're going to a spiritual tailspin. You're going through a dark night of the soul. You're going through a personality crisis. That hits you on a mental, emotional, and spiritual level. Any number of physical symptoms in the body, feeling like this is really hard on your joints. You might be feeling like really rigid and stiff and rickety. You may find that you get exhausted, fatigued really easily. This is your body trying desperately to accommodate to, not even if you're sitting and doing energy activations and consciously taking that on, but it's just the wave of massive energy transmissions that are hitting this planet, along with solar flares and solar fires and all those things that are happening too. Your body is desperately trying to accommodate all this energy, but you're still working with an old operating system. You're working with your DNA that is not optimized to tell the body that it's okay to receive this stuff, to inform the cells, to educate the systems of the body on how to take this energy in. This is how profound sacred DNA activation and restructuring is. And so, when I've had people come to me and say, God, Catherine, I really want my sacred DNA activation and restructure session done, but it's $500 for 24 strands. Why is it so expensive? I did a DNA activation that was like $30. I'm like, this is completely different. This is a completely different, it's a very, very involved session. So it takes me an hour or more to do DNA activation and restructuring. And then we have an hour follow-up because I explain to you everything that happens, everything that gets integrated in this session. And then what I'm doing now is adding on an implementation and strategy session. So not only do I explain to you everything that happens during DNA activation restructuring, and then only then do you really understand how involved this process is, and it's not only worth every penny, it's probably a little too inexpensive when you consider like all that it does for you on a physical level, emotional level, mental and spiritual level. But now I'm introducing an implementation and strategy session. So not only do I explain to you everything that's done during the session when I remotely activate you, because I do that as a distance session, and then we meet for an hour, and then what I'm doing now is adding on another half hour or 45 minutes to talk to you about real tangible application. Like, where are you at in your life right now? What do you want to do with this new energetic upgrade? Where do you want to take this? How do you want to take this in your life? How do you want to take this in your business? And we actually hash out a strategy session for you. It's a plan for how you want to take these energies and funnel them, give them somewhere to go. Because I've had some clients who, were really, really fired up to get sacred DNA activation and restructuring, and then they had no idea what to do with it afterwards. And I was like, well, you can book another session, and then we can talk about this and do strategy and implementation, which I highly recommend. And we talk about it a little bit when I do the follow-up call, but these clients were requiring a lot more, let's just say, direction. Feeling like they just didn't, feeling like basically that so much opened up for them that it was overwhelming and confusing. And so they didn't know where to take this. So I don't want that to happen. I want to be able to not only give you this energetic upgrade, but I want to be able to help you, after you ground it in the physical through the restructuring, take that grounding even further and help you practically apply this in your everyday life, in your spiritually based business, in your everyday life, whatever you want to do. This will be what that extra 45-minute session will be for. And so I'm opening this up. So if you want to do a 12 or a 20, if you're doing the 24 strand Sacred DNA Activation session with me, if you book that this weekend, I'm doing the distance energy activation, the actual DNA activation that takes about an hour. Right on the heels of that, we have our follow-up call. And so we can do it one of two ways. I'll add on another 45 minutes of implementation and strategy for you to really get a concrete idea, to get real applicable, actionable steps to help you actualize this energy in your everyday life or in your business, whatever you want to do. I'll help you with either one or both, whatever we can fit into 45 minutes. And you can book that. We can do that right on the end of your follow-up kind of explanation session, or you can book that separately. So I'm going to open this up to 4 people, and there'll be no additional charge. It's just the basic charge of the Sacred DNA Activation and Restructure method. And that is $497. So you're basically getting another $300 worth of value added on. You're getting a $797 value for $497. So this is going to be for 4 people only. So the first 4 people that sign up for this weekend will be, and you can book it anytime through May, but you must be able to book that this weekend before tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Pacific time. So I hope that some of you will want to jump onto this, because if you're resonating with what I'm saying here and you've been feeling what I've been talking about, like you've had a lot of fear, like on a physical level, you just felt a lot of fear about moving forward, where to take your business, where to take your life, and you haven't been stepping forward in confidence, and you haven't been feeling brave or courageous, and there's just a lot of fear and anxiety and denial, maybe lack of self-belief. This is an excellent time for your DNA activation and restructuring, because the energy that's hitting the planet is bringing us into a place where we feel like we're in really unfamiliar territory. Like I said, it feels like we're constantly trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Things they don't feel comfortable anymore. They're not making sense anymore. The DNA activation and restructuring will help you with that. And especially if you are running a spiritually based business, this is the time, because your clients are going to need you to be a clearer vessel, a clearer conduit of energy. You're going to want to make sure all your spiritual, emotional, mental, physical stuff is cleared up in order for you to be this clear conduit, this clear vessel, to facilitate the highest and best level of healing for your clients. This is the time. This is the time, because you're going to find that more and more people are reaching out to you for the help that you do, and you want to make sure that you are delivering the highest and best of who you are to them, without any filters, without any barriers, without any blocks. This is our call to action as spiritual entrepreneurs. So I hope you'll take me up on this offer. It's amazing. It is absolutely incredible. You will love the way this feels. You will love the way this opens up your psychic abilities and your clairs even more. You will love how this feels in your body. If you've been on a physical level holding any pain, especially on the left side of your body, clearing the seals on the earth and the DNA helps to clear that in the body. A lot of people who have had a lot of jaw pain on the left side of their body find that this goes away after we do sacred DNA activation and restructuring, or on the left side of the neck or the shoulder. I had a lady in her left hip has been bothering her for 20 years, and we did sacred DNA activation and restructuring, and she doesn't have that problem anymore. And her right hip starts to feel better now, is starting to feel better now too, because her body was all out of balance from holding that energy. So I hope you'll take me up on this offer. It's really, really, really amazing and truly worth it. And if you are feeling called to this, don't hesitate, because this is only for 4 people, and the offer goes away tomorrow at 9 p.m. Pacific time. So I want to wish you love and peace.